محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, dear brothers, today I'd like to discuss a very important topic about the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the mu'jizat that the Prophet happened to him at this time when he went through a lot of difficulties. So this particular incident happened the year that the Prophet's wife, Khadija, that looked after him well, she died. And also his uncle passed away in the same year. It was the same year that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Taif. Before he went to Taif, also Abu Talib and the Prophet and his companions and all those little group of Muslims, they've been boycotted by the Quraysh. They've been isolated to the extent that they could not buy and sell any food or anything with the Quraysh, and they were almost dying in hunger in that Shu'abu Abu Talib, to the extent that they started eating the leaves and whatever they could find in that place. So, and it was the same year that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after Quraysh had harmed him so massively that he thought maybe the other tribes in the neighboring cities or towns may accept the da'wah of Islam. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to Taif, and when he called the people of Taif to the religion of Allah, they sent out their children and their women to throw stones at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the extent he was bleeding massively all the way to his from head to toe. He was bleeding. That's when the angel Jibril came to him with the angel of the mountains, and he said to him, "What do you want to do with these people? This is the angel of mountains. Shall we crush these two mountains in between them? What do you think?" And this is a great saying that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was so kind even to these non-Muslims, he said, "I expect their offspring, some of them could be Muslims, so do not crush them." He came back so sad to the Mecca, and in that night this miraculous incident happened, which is Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was a night ascension. So he's been taken from Mecca, been took to Masjid al-Aqsa, and then from Masjid al-Aqsa all the way to the seven heavens. And Allah described this in the Surah Al-Isra. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. So you see, it's amazing, this ayah, that Allah has started with His word. Glorify your Lord, Subhanahu, Tanzih. So this Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi, and glorify to the one who took his slave from Mecca, Masjid al-Haram, to Masjid al-Aqsa, and then after that to the ascension to the seven heavens. It's amazing that Allah at the end of this ayah concluded, because that shows you the power of the Creator. So for that time, for anyone to go from Mecca to Jerusalem, it will take them months and months. And the whole thing happened part of the night. It's not the whole night even. That's why Allah started, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi. It's amazing, it's an incredible thing. Allah concluded in the ayah, because Allah is powerful, He done such a great thing, He could easily conclude the ayah in Allah ala kulli shay'in Qadir. Allah is capable to do anything. But He concluded إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. Allah is the most hearing, the most seeing. So Allah heard what the Prophet ﷺ been done to by the Quraysh, by the non-Muslims. Allah saw what happened to his Prophet. So Allah kind of honored his messenger for him to go all the way to the seven heavens. So we try to learn, there's a great hadith, it's been narrated in the Sahih al-Bukhari, in the chapter of Al-Mi'raj. So we try to read about this hadith in this khutbah and try to take some points from it, inshallah. So the hadith being narrated by Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, he said that the Messenger, narrated from Malik ibn Sahah radiallahu anhu, both said that the Messenger of Allah described them, his my journey, saying, while I was laying in Al-Hatim, which is the Hijj. Al-Hijj. The Hijr is in the Kaaba, that semicircle area, which is part of the Kaaba. So that semicircle area, when I was laying down in there, so the Prophet is saying, when I was laying down in there in that night, I was suddenly someone came to me and cut my body open from here to here. So I, Anas, asked Al-Jarud, who was by my side, what does he mean, cut my body from here to there? So he said, it means from his throat all the way to his pubic hair, all the way there, it's been cut. The Prophet ﷺ further said, he then took out my heart. So the angel came to him and cut his body and he took out his heart. Then a gold tray of faith was brought to me, and my heart was washed and was filled with faith, and then returned to its original place. Then a white animal, which was smaller than a mule and bigger than a donkey, was brought to me. On this, Al-Jarud asked, was it Al-Bara or Abu Hamza, which is Anas? I replied to him, yes, affirmative. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was on this animal called Al-Bara. The animal's step was so wide that it reached the furthest point within reach for the animal's side. So as far as it could see, that's the step of the animal. So you can see how quick that animal is. I was carried on it, and Jibreel, the angel Jibreel, set out with me till we reached the nearest heaven. When he asked for the gate to be opened, it was asked, who is it? Jibreel answered, Jibreel. It was asked, who is with you? Jibreel said, Muhammad. It was asked, has Muhammad been called? Has been allowed to come in? And he replied, yes. That it was said, he is welcome. So, what an excellent visit is his. The gate was opened, and when I went over the first heaven, I saw Adam. So the first heaven, the Prophet ﷺ, he saw Prophet Adam alayhi salam there. Jibreel said to him, said to the Prophet, this is your father, Adam, pay him your greetings. So I greeted him, and he returned the greeting to me and said, you are welcome, O pious son and pious prophet. Then Jibreel ascended with me until we reached the second heaven. Jibreel asked for the gate to be opened. It was asked, who is it? Jibreel answered, it's Jibreel. And who's with you? And he said, it's Muhammad. And they asked him, has he been called? Has been allowed to come in? And he said, yes. And the angels greeted and said, what an excellent visit is his. The gate was opened. When I went over the second heaven, there I saw Yahya and Isa, who were cousins of each other. Jibreel said to me, these are Yahya and Isa, pay them your greetings. Say salam to them. So I greeted them, and both of them returned my greetings to me and said, you are welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet. Then Jibreel ascended with me to the third heaven and asked for its gate to be opened. It was being asked, who is it? And he said, Jibreel. And who's with you? And he said, Muhammad. And they asked him, has he been called in? And he said, yes. So they said to him, he's welcome. What a great visit this is. And then the gate was open. And when I went over the third heaven, there I saw Yusuf alayhi salam. Jibril said to me, this is Yusuf, pay him your greetings. So I greeted him, and he returned the greeting to me and said, you are welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet. Then Jibril ascended with me to the fourth heaven and asked for his gate to be opened. Same process again. Who's with you? Who's this? Jibril, who's with you? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And is he being allowed to come in? Yes, he's allowed to come in. And they welcomed him. This is a great visit, come in. So the gate was open, and when I went over the fourth heaven, there I saw Idris. Jibril said to me, this is Idris. Pay him your greetings. So I greeted him, and he returned the greeting to me and said, you are welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet. Then Jibril ascended with me to the fifth heaven and asked the gate to be opened, and he was being said, who is this? And he said, Jibril. And who's with you? Muhammad. Has he been called in? Yes. And then they said to him, what a great visit, welcome. And so when I went over the fifth heaven, there I saw Harun alayhi salam. Jibril said to me, this is Harun, pay him your greetings. I greeted him and returned the greetings to me, and he said, you are welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet. Then Jibril ascended with me to the sixth heaven and asked for his gate to be opened. It was asked, who is it? Jibril, he replied, and they asked him, who is with you? And he said, Muhammad. And they asked him, has he been called in? And he said, yes. And they opened the gate, and they said, what an excellent visit is his. When I went over the sixth heaven, there I saw Musa alayhi salam. Jibril said to me, give you salam to Musa. And I gave my salam to him, and Musa said, you are welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet. When I left him, Musa, he wept. Musa on the sixth heaven, he wept. Someone asked him, what makes you sweet? What makes you weep? Why are you crying, O Musa? Musa, he said, I weep because of after me there has been a sent as a prophet, a young man whose followers will enter paradise in a greater numbers than my followers. That's why Musa alayhi salam is crying, because Musa, after our ummah, after the followers of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Musa got the largest followers when it comes to those people who obeyed and followed the messengers. So Musa is crying, saying, this young man, or as a prophet, has been sent after me, got the largest crowd in the day of judgment that will enter the Jannah. Then Jibril ascended with me to the seventh heaven and asked for his gates to be opened. It was asked, who is it? Jibril replied, it was Jibril, who is with you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Has he been called in? Yes, he's been called in. And they said, come in, what an excellent visit this is. When I went over the seventh heaven, there I saw Ibrahim alayhi salam, Khalil al-Rahman. Jibril said to me, this is your father. Pay your greetings to him. So I greeted him, and he returned the greetings to me and said, you are welcome, O pious son and a pious prophet. So as you know, Ibrahim alayhi salam is called the Abu Anbiya, the father of all the messengers. Because from Ibrahim, there was Ismail, and there was Ishaq. And from Ishaq, there was a Yaqub, and there was Musa, and Yusuf, and those kind of, and Dawood, and those kind of prophets and messages. That's right. And here you have Ismail, and through Ismail, that's when the Prophet, that the lineage goes, of the Prophet Muhammad goes up to Ismail, then after that to Ibrahim. That's why Ibrahim is saying, welcome as a son and as a prophet. And Ibrahim is on the seventh heaven. Then I was made to ascend to Sidratul Muntaha, the furthest lobe tree. Behold, its fruits were like the jars of Hajar, a place near Medina, and its leaves were as thick as the ears of the elephants. Jibril said. So the Prophet ﷺ is describing this amazing tree that you've seen it on the seventh heaven. So Jibril said, this is the furthest lobe tree. Behold, there run 4 rivers. 2 were hidden and 2 were visible. I asked, what are these two kinds of rivers, O Jibreel? He replied, as for the hidden rivers, they are two rivers in paradise, and the visible rivers are the Nile and the Euphrates. So the Nile from Egypt and the Euphrates in Iraq. Then the Nile goes to Sudan and it comes all the way to Ethiopia as well. Then Al-Baytul Ma'mur. Then after that, Al-Baytul Ma'mur, the sacred house, was shown to me, and a container full of wine, and other full of milk, and a third full of honey were brought to me. Before we discuss these three things, that Baytul Ma'mur is exactly the same spot all the way to the seven heavens. And that is the Kaaba for the angels, if you like. So the angels do their dawaf in that Baytul Ma'mur, and 70,000 angels visit every day, and they never go back to it. Just try to think about it. If you ever wondered how many angels are there, imagine 70,000 angels going there every day. They will never return. Another new 70,000 will go every day. Multiply 70,000 by 365. You see how many angels that will visit there. Billions and billions and trillions. It's incredible. So that's Baytul Ma'mur. He saw the Baytul Ma'mur as well. And the Prophet ﷺ, he's saying, he's been brought to a container that's full of two. That was shown to me, and a container full of wine, and another full of milk, and another full of honey were brought to me. And he said, I took the milk. So we'll carry on, inshallah, after the second khutbah. Ala wa sallu wa sallimu ala rasulikum al-kareem. الحمد لله والثناء لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده. أما بعد. See, brothers, come forward, inshallah, so we can get the brothers to come in and sit down, inshallah. Go that way if you want to. Go that way as well, inshallah, so it can be easy for them to sit there. Barakallahu feek. So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith is saying, when he was there, that he has been brought 3 containers. 1 milk, 1 honey, and 1 wine. And he took the milk. Jibreel remarked and said, this is Islamic religion which you and your followers are following. Then the prayers were enjoined on me. There were 50 prayers a day. So the Prophet ﷺ, he reached a place that even Jibreel couldn't go. So Jibreel said, Sidratul Muntaha, this is my last place. You go up. The Prophet ﷺ went up, and Allah gave him 50 prayers. So that's why, subhanAllah, the ulama, they say, the only action, the only worship that was being made compulsory on us while the Prophet was being ascended was a prayer. The rest of the worships came to the Prophet while he was on the land. Shows you how important the prayer is. To the extent the Prophet, he said, the difference between us and the non-Muslims is a prayer. If the person does not pray, there's no Islam in him. That's what makes somebody a Muslim, and that's what makes somebody not to be a Muslim. So it's very important for us to pray, to look after that prayer, because that prayer got that special status or special place in Islam. So the prayer, being made a compulsory on the Prophet ﷺ, was being honored for him to go all the way up there. So 50 prayers. SubhanAllah. We are struggling with 5 prayers. Imagine if we had that 50 prayers. But let's happen what's going to happen. The Prophet ﷺ, when Allah gave him the 50 prayers, he took it. He came down with it. So when I returned, I passed by Musa. So he passed 7 heavens. Who was in the 7 heavens? Ibrahim. Yes. Make sure you follow me. I'll be asking you this. Very important. So Ibrahim was the 7th heaven. The Prophet ﷺ, he passed him, and he came to 6th heaven now. Who was there? Musa alayhi salam. So he came to Musa, and Musa alayhi salam, he said to him, what have you been ordered? And the Prophet ﷺ replied, I've been ordered to offer 50 prayers a day. Musa said, your followers cannot bear 50 prayers a day. And by Allah, I have tested people before you, and I have tried my level best with Bani Israel. So Bani Israel, they had lesser prayers, and they could not even cope with that. So he said, go back to your Lord and ask for reduction to lessen your followers' burden. So he said, this will be a burden for your followers. SubhanAllah. So I went back, and Allah reduced 10 prayers for me. Then again, I came to Musa, but he repeated the same as he had said before. Then again, I went back to Allah, and he reduced 10 more prayers. When I came back to Musa, and he said the same, I went back to Allah, and he ordered me to observe 10 prayers a day. When I came back to Musa, he repeated the same advice. So I went back to Allah and was ordered to observe 5 prayers a day. When I came back to Musa, he said, what have you been ordered? I replied, I have been ordered to observe 5 prayers a day. He said, your followers cannot bear 5 prayers a day, and no doubt I have been experienced people before you, and I have tried my level best with Bani Israel. So go back to your Lord and ask for reduction to lessen your followers' burden. I said, the Prophet speaking now, I have requested so much of my Lord that I feel ashamed, but I am satisfied now and surrender to Allah's order. When I left, I heard a voice saying, I have passed my order and have lessened the burden of my worshippers. So that's the end of this hadith. Though there's many hadiths that talk about Isra wal Mi'raj, but shows you that the advice of Prophet Musa alayhi salam to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wanted to take the 50 prayers. Imagine some Muslims now struggling to do the 5 daily prayers. Maybe some of them or some of us do only 3 prayers. The rest we pray together, or 4 of them together, or we miss. SubhanAllah, imagine 50 of them. Imagine 50 of them. SubhanAllah. But the Prophet ﷺ has been given, if you multiply, each prayer will be equivalent to 10. If you do 10 times 5, we will have the rewards that we pray in the 50 prayers. That's why it's very important, dear brothers, for us to look after and keep firm on our prayers. Do not compromise. There's nothing you can compromise about your religion. And the last thing you want to compromise is your prayer. It doesn't matter whether you're working as a taxi driver, whether you're working as a firm or company, or whether you are school, education, sixth form, you name it, wherever you are. You have to pray your daily 5 prayers. And Allah gave us and the freedom for us to pray in this country, alhamdulillah. So you go to universities, they have prayer rooms. Even they opened one now recently in the town center. In the shopping center, there's a prayer room now. In the mall itself, in the McDonald's area, in that area, there's a prayer room there. It's very tiny, but it's good. In the shopping center, used to be, there's one in the library as well. So we can pray everywhere we go. There's no excuse for us. Allah gave us the opportunity for our nation to pray wherever they are. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, I've been made the whole land as a masjid. So for example, if you can't read the masjid, you can pray wherever you are. So there are places you're not allowed to pray. For example, the toilet, you cannot pray in the toilet. You cannot pray in the stables of the camels. There are places that are being forbidden, but I'll say 99% of the places you could pray. So, dear brothers, I just wanted to share this beautiful kind of incident that happened to the Prophet ﷺ when he went through all these difficulties at the time of the Quraysh, when his wife passed away, Khadija, when his uncle passed away, when they boycotted him, they isolated him and his companions to the Ash'ab of Abi Talib, and they'd gone all the way to eat leaves and trees and things like that for them to survive. And even when they came out from the isolation, he went to Taif, and for the people of Taif to be Muslims, and they thrown stones at him, and he was bleeding and everything, and Allah gave him this amazing night for him to be taken from Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa, and from there all the way to the 7 heavens for this and 5 daily prayers, though there were 50 originally, but he came down